Hello world, welcome to WFHR's Rapids Report, proudly brought to you by Crockett Septic for this September 5th, 2025. Have your host James behind the mic. We want to send a big shout out to our friends at Wisconsin Rapids Community Media, being here again this week, doing double duty, having to put up with me twice, the poor people. But we encourage you to go to YouTube, subscribe to their page, throw into their Wisconsin Rapids Community Media, keep up to date on all the great things they are doing over there. And covering topics like we're going to be today with some of the guests that we have. I'd like you guys to introduce yourselves so the audience can put a name to the voice, and we'll kind of go down the line here and start with you.
Hi, my name is Linda Casper, and I am a citizen of, actually, Grand Rapids.
Linda, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. It's great to meet you.
Yep.
Hi, I'm Sue Smith, and I serve as the Wood County Health Officer and Director of the Wood County Health Department.
Sue, good to see you again. I know you joined us once a while ago with Lance, and I appreciated the time then and now. Thanks for being here, and especially with the topic we're going to dive into today. Now, if you don't mind, before we get into that topic, could you tell us a little bit about your background, a little bit why you're here today to talk about this, what we're going to be getting into, the Safe Haven Baby Box issue. And I'll start with you, Lynn.
Hi, I'm here to talk about the Safe Haven Baby Box that we would like to install at one of the places in Wisconsin Rapids that the Safe Haven law allows us to install it. So it would either go into the fire department, the police department, or the hospital. So I'm just here promoting the Safe Haven Baby Box.
And greatly appreciate that. Whether it is Sue or I who are here, in a business sense or any of those other reasons, we're also citizens and feel a lot of what you're feeling. But to have that representation means a lot to our audience and to me. So I really do appreciate the time. Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
And Sue, your incredible background, if you could just go through all of that. No, I'm joking. But you have a very impressive background. But you are here, obviously, as a Wood County Health representative and Human Services representative as well, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, I serve as the Director of the Health Department. So, and I'm really here because Linda, as a local resident, had an idea, and she had the courage to bring that idea forward. And we know a lot of residents might have other ideas. So this is what can happen if a member of our community has a really good idea and they tell somebody and we get connected and get the ball rolling.
Thank you, Sue. I appreciate that. That's a really strong, good point to bring up in this topic. I got very focused on the main headline of this, but that's an important thing to bring up. We talk about this with a lot of our nonprofits, Encourage in particular, about what one citizen can do and how important that is to speak up, to have your voice heard, to be out there and do these things. And oftentimes you find that the community, well, I think that's a really good idea. And, all of a sudden we have something that our community did not have before. It's a key part of that. Our community, but also this conversation right here. And Linda, if I'm not prying too much or anything, what made you think that this was something our community could use? What sparked this for you?
Well, my husband and I got a thank you letter in the mail from an organization that we support. And with the thank you letter came the topic of the baby box. And in the morning I get up early and I read for a couple hours, and I use that letter as a bookmark. And one day this last spring I thought I need to put a real bookmark in this book and get rid of this letter. So I thought I'm going to reread the letter before I recycle it. I reread it, talked about the baby box, and I just thought to myself, this would be a great idea for Wisconsin Rapids or someplace in the central Wisconsin area. I need to talk to somebody about this. So that's how it started.
Appreciate that. Thank you very much for that. And while I don't make light of any of the things you mentioned there, it does show us how simply these things can come into the forefront and be able to be talked about and see if this is something our community wants and we could use. And we don't know unless we bring the subject up. Exactly. Appreciate that. It's another thing to have the thought, but to take the initiative to do something with it. That I really, really commend. We all have thoughts, we all have feelings and stuff, but you got to put them into action. And you put that, you're living example of that. We really appreciate that.
Yep. And so then I spoke to Jeff Penscover, who is an alderman for Wisconsin Rapids, and he said, I have the perfect person that you need to talk to. He connected me to Sue and got another alderman involved. And so we just formed a small team, and
excellent.
That's how it all started.
And that's how easily it can happen, too. And again, appreciate that breakdown there, Linda. Thank you for that. Sue, when you first heard about this, what made you think this is something that would be good for our community?
Well, Jeff Penscover, he's an alderman. He also serves on the Wood County Board of Supervisors. And so I see him pretty regularly, and he brought it up to me. And just along with my own beliefs, I thought this really does sound like an excellent opportunity. I recall a sad situation in Wood County around 2019 with a baby being found. And if this saves one baby, it is so going to be worth the effort. And the other part is just to have an idea coming from a citizen. It's been really fun for me to work on this because residents have better ideas than bureaucrats do.
Agreed.
It has been wonderful working alongside of Linda, and just my belief in the topic and the safe haven law and having access to a safe haven baby box. That's why I'm here.
It's if you went to high school in Wisconsin, you know what how quickly pregnancies can happen, young pregnancies, some of these things. We also know as we get older here that pregnancies can come out of the blue. I remember asking my father, "Hey, why did you have me and my brother and sister all 5 years apart?" And he fell down laughing. He's like, "Jimmy, you don't plan kids; they just happen." Like it's life. It's life. It's how it works, and life is gray. There's a lot of gray area to life, and I have to say, Sue, I think that for this topic, while I have given it a ton of research and I've dived into it quite a bit, you really hit on the key part to it to me. If this helps one family, one person, if this saves one baby, enough reason to me. But we can move on. I don't know why, we didn't do this before or something like that. Like, it seems like a no-brainer to me, but I do know that there's been some concern about this. There's been some conversation about it. I think a lot of that, and I am saying this just talking to listeners, just talking to people out there, first off, I have not heard a lot of, I don't even want to say pushback. I think it's more of just questions. Like a lot of things, and I was just talking to Representative Krug about this. A lot of times I think citizen members have questions and just not the information. And that's where a lot of that comes from. So I think concern is a bit of a heavier word than I mean, but it's just where, hey, what is this? What does this mean? Certainly worrying about child safety and some of that. So can we get into some of the details of what a safe haven baby box is and maybe kind of answer some of those questions?
Sure. So a safe haven baby box essentially is a structure that is built into a building. We are hoping it will go in one of the Wisconsin Rapids Fire Department locations. So they literally knock a hole in the wall, put the baby box in so you can access it from the outside, but it is also visible and accessible from inside the building. So there will be a door on the outside. The door opens up. Information will come out to the person standing there about resources, the local pregnancy resources, a lot of information. If they are standing there with their baby and they want to take a different route, there's a lot of information there for them.
And there's also a crisis hotline that's manned by the Safe Haven Baby Box Company. That's 24/7, 365. So
a real person they can
real
talk
person.
to on the spot.
Right.
Yeah,
Which is noteworthy in itself. It's a real person, but
Absolutely.
also just a really good point. Thank you for mentioning that.
Yeah, absolutely. So if someone does decide I'm going to put my baby in here, there's a bassinet inside. It's got a mattress on it. It's got a sheet on it. It's a safe place. It's comfortable, temperature controlled. So they set the baby inside on the bassinet. They close the door. The door will lock so nobody else can come along and take the baby from the outside. There's at least 2 alarms on the bassinet. There's surveillance, so there's video surveillance on it as well. The first alarm is a silent alarm so that the person isn't standing there, put their baby and shut the door and then hear this siren going off or something. It gives them time to walk away. So the baby's in the box. The fire department staff are notified because of the alarm systems, and they retrieve the baby from the box. At that point, they will do like an assessment of the health of the infant, take him or her to the hospital for an assessment, and then human services will become involved. There are child protection staff that are on call. They will find foster care for the baby in the short term and then work with Gunderson Social Services for the adoption process.
Yep.
It's a very detailed breakdown and a much appreciated one. I was waiting to have a follow-up question and you answered everything. Well done. But also, it speaks to and I hesitate to use this word when we're talking about life, but the simplicity of this, that this is not something that I feel like there is a ton of gray area to, although it is a gray area subject, where the again, concerns, lack of a better word, that when I've talked to community members, they seem to all have to do, in fact, yeah, they all have to do with the parent. And the parents, and well, where is this? Where is that? Where's and follow-up questions about that. And all I can think is, I'm not worried about them. I'm not trying to be mean or callous here or anything like that, but I'm trying to be very honest about this topic and my concern and my focus. My focus is on that baby. Right. Like the parents have made their decision. That's and wherever they go with that, and that's their business. That'll get figured out. Right now, major concern: how's that baby? Who is watching on that baby? Who is taking care of that baby? And when I have talked to people about that, I direct them to a lot of what you were talking about there, Sue, and a lot of the details to that. When they talk about this idea and this box, they've thought of everything. They have. This is one of the fortunate things, I think, of getting one of these boxes, whether it's late or on time, however you want to look at it that way. This has been fine-tuned. This has been done for a while now in many communities and many cities, and they've been able to really hammer this down to the point of, okay, is there anything we haven't thought of? Okay, now we have. You mentioned the alarms and some of those things. The location is very important to this, of course. Well, fire department, there's always somebody at the fire department. There's always representation there. So a fit there. And when it comes to, for you all, have you heard any concerns about this? Have you heard any kind of information that would be anything other than supporting of it?
I've read a little bit of comments on social media, and of course, you have both sides of it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I guess people are, concerned about, well, what if the baby is abused? Or what if one parent is doing this and the other parent doesn't agree with it? If there's anything illegal going on, abuse or anything like that, then the law is going to get involved. And I think to comment on what you said, it's mostly questions about, why do we need this? Is there a big need for this in central Wisconsin? And like Sue said, if it saves one life, then it's worth it. There's 375 boxes across the country, and actually, truthfully, a lot of babies haven't been surrendered to the box. I think it's less than 70. But the key there is that when a parent comes up to the box, they are presented with the crisis number, they're presented with information. So a lot of times these parents are deciding to do a face-to-face surrender instead of leaving the baby there. So, and that's, I think, more the hope of the Safe Haven Baby Box Company, is that there would be a safe surrender with a face-to-face one instead of leaving the baby there. But if that's their only choice, then they have that option.
I'm not sure if you have or not, you two. I've read a number of different articles about this in the last month or so, and one of them, there was a person commenting on it that they had gone to one of these boxes with their child at 1 a.m. and was in front of that box for a good half an hour, and then came back with their baby. And they're still a mother. They're still, raising. I think that she said her child was 6 or 7 years old at the time of the article now, and everything. There is that side of this too, that sometimes when faced with that situation, you really do kind of make, you know what you're made of, and you figure that out. And that there's angles on this that I appreciate from community members or you two or anybody else that have questions or have, hey, what about this? What about that? That's what we're doing here. We want to have a discussion. There's no bad questions or anything like that. But I do feel like most people come back around to this is not, again, to put it callously, this is insurance. You have car insurance, you have insurance, and hopefully you never have to use it. We hope this box gets dust on it, and it never gets used. But you don't want to be late on something like this. You don't want to be 2 months, 2 years, 20 years from now being like, oh, I wish we had one of these.
Right. And I think that just having this box in Wisconsin Rapids, it's not going to just serve Wisconsin Rapids. It's going to serve the greater central Wisconsin area, because anyone could come here and put a baby in a box. And why wouldn't Wisconsin Rapids want to be looked at as that community? We care about people. We care about our citizens. We care about life, in general. So
Yeah.
I just think that why can't it be us?
One of the key things that we have here that I know we hang our hat on in a lot of different departments in a lot of different ways is our location. We are literally the center of the state. I feel like we almost should, like not only should, we mandatory almost that we should have one of these where our location, where we're almost 2 hours away from everything in the state.
Well, we had a conversation. They host a call every Wednesday, and there were some ladies on there from Ashland, and she said the farthest box was like 5 or 6 hours away. I think Reedsburg is the closest one to Wisconsin Rapids. Most of them are, south and east of us. So I just think that central Wisconsin
Makes
is a great
sense.
location.
Yeah. Great stuff, you two. I did have some other questions, but Sue answered them all. The interview is a little shorter because of Sue. Way to go. No. Appreciate that. Really, really do appreciate it. I can't help teasing you and try to find a chance to make you guys laugh a little bit. But I really do appreciate the time, the energy, the empathy that has been put into this topic. Most people that I've heard talking about these are not individuals that you might think may need this, but they see the gray area in our society and are doing something about it. Just as a citizen, I appreciate it, let alone as a father and somebody that just, I like kids. I want to be controversial here and say something about, kids, they're great. They're awesome. It's a nice thing to be able to cover. If there are follow-up questions, and Sue, I'll direct this to you. Do you mind people reaching out to you with questions? Do you mind people asking more about this?
Absolutely. That's absolutely fine. I don't mind at all.
How can they do that?
My email is simple, sue.smith@woodcountywi.gov. My direct office number is 715-421-8928. If I don't answer, leave me a message. I usually call you back within like an hour, a couple hours, unless I'm on vacation or something like that.
And I can back that up. She does. She gets back to you right away, everybody. Sue, please say hi to the staff for us and everything. We appreciate you being here. Thanks a lot.
Sure.
And Linda, thank you so much for putting up with me and my questions and hanging out with us today. This was really good. The work you guys did today is going to go a lot farther than we can really put into words. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Big shout out to our friends at Wisconsin Rapids Community Media being here, doing the great coverage that they do over there. And of course, we appreciate you great listeners out there listening and spreading the word on this topic and this interview. We encourage you to share it with your friends and family and pets and strangers and everybody. Make sure that everybody knows. And we'll be back with more Rapids Report for you coming up at WFHR.